Ideas. Ideas can be transformational, no matter how simple or how obvious the idea might be. uh, An insight can, in fact, make a world of difference in your lives, in our lives, and in the lives of our teams and our organizations, the groups, our families. And that is the driving motivation for the effort that we put into these live casts. The idea that we can share something that could transform lives, that could make a difference, no matter how simple they might be. But today, we want to examine issues, three concepts really. We want to share three strategies that will help you to drive performance personally and within the team and within your organizations. I am Trevor E.S. Smith, and I'm with the Success with People Academy. So let us look at today's agenda. Those of you who have spent time with us know that we work towards limiting this to around 30 minutes. So please stick around and get some insights that could be transformational. So we're going to share the context in a little while. We want to look at collaboration. We want to look at adaptability. We want to look at persistence and patience and some bonus thoughts. And of course, we always have a bottom line. There is a chat possibility. So if you have a question or something that you want to have clarified or you want to share an input, you can in fact type in the chat. So this year, you might be keen. At this time, people tend to be looking at what is it that we can do different this year? How can we enhance performance personally? Maybe you're part of a team or you're leading a team. And what is it that you can do? You might also be interested in exploring insights from nature, insights from nature. And you might want to learn what does be like water mean and how could it be implemented in practical terms. If any of these are relevant to you, then you're in the right place. Suggest that you get some form of taking notes so that you can just jot down the key principles that we want to share today. Let me tell you how we got here quickly. I was exposed, by kind of a voracious seeker after information. And so I was exposed to Dao De Ching, this Chinese philosophy. And one of the areas that came out was this concept of be like water. And so I started to pursue that concept of what is it like to be like water? What are some of the key principles, key insights that we can draw from water? And I believe you me, it has been compelling for me and inspiring in terms of a change of mindset. Then I happened to be going back to look at articles that I had written for a church newsletter some decades ago. I had pulled it together in a book called Cues from Life. Cues from Life. What is it that we can draw from what we see around us on a day-to-day basis? And I had many, many cues. So I was going through that and said, hey, why haven't I published this? So one of the paragraphs, one of the chapters, chapter 13 to be exact, is Lessons from Water. And I also then saw how the two things sort of link together. So what I'm sharing with you today are three strategies that comes from the idea of the Dao De Ching concept around water and nature, and also my own insights from decades ago as to lessons from water. So let's move on. So the first thing is, as it relates to collaboration. Cooperation is important. And as we seek to understand that we are not islands and that we can be more successful when we cooperate with others, when we align ourselves with others. So let us look at what it is that we could learn from water. So as we know, water is chemically H2O, two atoms of hydrogen, one atom of oxygen. And so any modification of that formula is going to turn out with something that's not the life-sustaining liquid that we know. So really and truly, there's no room for hydrogen to be upset and to say, hey, why is oxygen putting in less than I am? And oxygen shouldn't be, it's not their concern about, hey, why is hydrogen up front and why is hydrogen dominating the formula? So our lesson from this is that we should not really focus on roles and the perceived relative contributions, because that tends to be decisive and unproductive. Let me share especially where this is relevant. It's especially relevant, not necessarily within our teams, although that happens, but when it comes to interdepartmental cooperation, and also even outside of the organization, how do we work with other members of our industry? But let us talk about the silos, the challenges that come where departments are supposed to support, work towards a common goal. But as we know, there is a consistent conflict there. I happen to work in a media organization, and I was in the advertising and marketing side. And, there was a constant battle that I came to find between advertising and marketing and editorial. So the advertising team would, of course, go to clients and try to get business from them. Yes, the client might also have something that they would like to publish. And so there, there was this challenge, Also, you would get insights as to what is it that could enhance the newspaper. Big fight. And so what I'm saying is, how could we find a way to get to a hydrogen oxygen mindset as it comes to collaboration, as it comes to cooperation? Can we get beyond the fighting for a position, the fighting for a relative contribution, recognition? Winning mindsets actually focus on finding the right combination and zealously protecting its integrity. So teams then need to focus on goal attainment. That's what it is. What are our goals? Where it is that we want to go, and then to put in reward practices, reward systems, also recognition practices that encourage everybody. So whether you're the leader, whether you're a key player, or you're providing a relatively small role, you're still key. So we want to look at a situation then where, as we look at the body, every little piece is important. So no, this doesn't mean that there can be no transition of personnel. Yeah, so I can be promoted. We're not saying that once you join the team and you are in this position, that no other possibilities exist. So individuals can actually move upwards or even laterally, as long as the functional effectiveness of the team is not compromised. That's where we want to go. We want to look at what are we achieving as a team. Yeah. So again, I was part of a university basketball team. And let me tell you, my role was to come on at some point in time and run fast up and down the court. The idea was to tire out the team. I wasn't going to, have, 30-point, 40-point game. My thing was just, this was my group. My group was just to speed up the game, run fast, run fast, run fast from end to end. Yeah. Should I feel, oh no, why am I not being given the ball? No. The idea is success, what it is that we're trying to achieve. So, whatever role you're assigned, you need to be able to see the bigger picture, see where this is going. And team leaders need to have that mindset as well, to encourage individuals to understand the importance of their role in the bigger picture. So, this might sound harsh, but stop watching others. Play your part to the best of your ability. That's the basic message that we get from water. Just do what it is, the hydrogen and the oxygen. Just do what you do. But here's another takeaway. We know how powerful hydrogen can be and how key and essential oxygen is. But I'm suggesting to you that nothing that they do compares to what they achieve together as water. And so that's the key as well. That sometimes when we have a pathway for ourselves, then we don't want to cooperate. That is a fact that if you check it out, once an organization has a forward path that's clear to them and they're making progress, then the idea of collaboration doesn't arise, or they're not as willing or open to collaborate. I'm suggesting that we should shift that and to see that even though we are doing well, we can in fact do better and help others to do better as well. All right, so that's the first message from first strategy, first message, first lessons, first insight from water. The second insight relates to flexibility and adaptability. For me, that capacity, the capacity to be so flexible, it can get into any little area, it can do anything. I had a swimming pool this morning, I bathed, I cleaned my teeth, I drank some water. As you can see, flexibility and adaptability is one of the wonders of creation. But we do not have to be divine and superhuman in order to draw from this concept. For me, this is really saying, hey, Trevor, be more multidimensional. Yeah. Do not be a one horse, one trick pony. Be multidimensional. And so I'm asking myself these questions, and I'm suggesting that you do the same. What if I took on the concept of being a lifelong learner more seriously? Well, what if I devoted myself to knowledge? Again, last night I was listening to work from Confucius, and that is one of the things, that learning and applying what we learn are keys to what he's saying. So that's joy. And then if we learn and discuss it, with colleagues in order to master it, then that's satisfaction. And the ultimate thing then is to learn, not only to apply it, but also to share it with others. And that's where what he would call, a gentleman. So, what if we took that on seriously? What if our team was invested in pursuing future readiness and developing resilience? In other words, it's not just focused on what we're doing today, but looking at the future. What's up coming down the pipe? What if we took that on more seriously? And what if I were in a position where I was more willing to take on new assignments and projects, even though I might not be fully ready for them? But I had a mindset that this is an opportunity. Let me seize it. Let me try. Let me focus on strengthening areas that I need to develop. That shift, that shift in mindset is guaranteed to enhance the performance of your team and your organization. This idea of being multidimensional, this idea of adapting to all the circumstances around you, new circumstances. One area that I would strongly suggest and recommend is volunteering, that you go and volunteer to serve in different areas. That's the key, right? Volunteer to serve in different areas so that you can spread your wings. That's one way, by the way, of networking, but it's also a way of developing your competencies. All right. So my key then is look at water and to see if we can draw insights, practical insights in our teams and in our lives to see how we can become more multidimensional. I know we live in an era where specialization is key, and so the specialist doctor gets many times more money for an hour than the general practitioner. Yeah, I understand that. But still, there is value. There is value. That GP can add immense value in many different areas, many, more areas than maybe the specialists. So that's a thought for you. All right, let's move it forward. Let patient persistence be your guide. Let patient persistence be your guide. This, we know it, this constant drip of water could erode a solid rock. And we talk about silent rivers running deep. Yeah, because of the consistent, patient persistence. And we also learn from Kaizen that this is one of the key principles, this idea, this step-by-step approach to continuous improvement. Is it time? That's a question that I'm asking myself. These live casts are also for my improvement and development. Is it time to step back from the grand plans, or at least to break them down into little pieces? We have a reservoir of change possibilities, things that we can do. We can save some money here. We can increase a little productivity there. If we stepped back and looked at, documented these incremental steps that are available, low-hanging fruit, might not require a lot of investment, can be executed today or tomorrow. What if we were to pull back then from this big plan and the grand thing that we're going to do to look at a way forward that's low risk and that's driven by looking at incremental changes? So patience, Oxford Dictionary says, the fact of continuing in an opinion or course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Pointing fingers at me. Why? Because you have a view, you have a vision, you have a plan, a project, you're pushing forward, and there is some resistance, there's some difficulty, it doesn't seem as if it is, and you shift, right? No, the idea is patience, continuing, be that meandering stream that's continuing to smooth out the rough edges. But hear this though, that persistence need to be adaptive. And I want to thank Damar Purvan for this idea that we should not be blindly persistent. What do I mean by that? It is clear from the evidence that what we're doing is not going to work. If we are objective, but yet still we say no, and we butt our heads and butt our heads and butt our heads. That's also not so wise. The preference is to adapt our persistence, that we go on and we look objectively at the data, the evidence. And while we might not be moving as fast, and there are challenges and difficulties in the way, barriers. We see that progress can be made, in which case then we persist. So as we go along, we are adapting to the changing conditions, but still have our view, our objective, our vision in mind. That's the adaptive persistence that I would recommend that we look at. So we're going to go patiently forward. We're going to persist, but we are willing to adapt. As we can see, the stream winds around some of the challenges. So we might come to a rock that's going to take, decades to wear down. But here is dirt over this side. So let me go where the dirt is. So that's the idea. The idea is to adapt to the terrain, adapt to the environment, adapt to what we see happening to us, but persist. Don't give up on our objectives. So here is a bonus. In this examination of water, we have really touched on things like calming, influence that it has, just that stream just gives us a sense of peace and understanding. That's something that we can bring to the table, to our environment. Some of us complain about toxicity and so on. What if we were a water-like influence in our organizations? What if we step back from pushing back every time someone says something to us that might not be exactly where our minds were, and just be calm, just be calm. That is something that I'm working on now, where the rapid response and the heated response, cool. Let's just have a cooler head. Let's just bask in the idea, that little ripple, that nice, calm feeling that comes from a stream. Can you be a meandering stream in your organization, in your family, among your friends? Also, this whole idea of purity of water, we'll talk about the purity of water, but then we can see mud. We can see sometimes when there's a broken pipe, the mud that's coming through our pipes. That should alert us to the possibility that we might have good, clear, honest intentions, but the possibility of someone corrupting that is great. We just see a multi-billion-dollar fraud in the financial sector in Jamaica. One of the things that we have to look at then is, were we alert to the possibility? Or did we just think that, water is always going to be pure? We have to be careful in our daily operations that we never ignore the fact that whatever it is that we're doing can be corrupted. Yeah. And of course, we haven't really dealt with the whole issue of discrimination. That water is not even, it's colorless. So this idea of being concerned about the color of the skin or any other kinds of discrimination. We talk about water going downhill and settling at the bottom. So we understand also that water doesn't neglect any community. We need to also have that in mind. Great. So let me just tell you where we were. So the whole idea is collaboration, and the thing is especially to look at interdepartmental, relations, collaborations, where there was the whole idea of the silos and locking people out. Then there was the whole question of being multidimensional, growing, being more future ready, more resilient. And here we are in terms of that incremental step where we are persistent, where we are patient, but it's an adaptive persistence and not just a blind persistence. Bonus, we talked about then the whole question of being calm and influence, also understanding the ease with which pure thoughts, pure actions, pure situation can be corrupted, and the idea of being non-discriminational. So just want to share quickly that I work with teams, and my work is multidimensional. Yeah. So I rely heavily on the granular insights that comes from the raft of behavioral diagnostics that we do, that comes from Extended Disc on the Revolutionary Things platform. However, I also draw on decades of training. I've been trained by all of the gurus, signed up. If you wave a flag to say here's a new course with some new insights, I'm ready to pull out my credit card and so on. So a lot of that over many years, and also, of course, I've been doing this now for a couple of decades, so there are the hands-on experience that I bring to the table. So I'm just suggesting here, let's have a conversation about your team, or if you are not responsible, if you can refer me to the person to talk to, send me an email at info@successwithpeople.org, or you can WhatsApp me, send me a WhatsApp text, 876-535-6677. Or even better, you could just hit this link, and it will actually set up a meeting where, it's convenient for both of us. meetings.hubspot.com/Trevor-Smith4, and we're ready to go. All right. So this is a no commitment. It's just an exchange of ideas as to what it is that we do, and how that could impact your performance and your team's performance. We are the Success with People Academy, and we are basically a technology-driven enterprise, but the whole concept is towards human capacity development. Sometimes I say that we try to make people better, but it sounds bad. So at one point, actually, we used to use the tagline "People Smith," as in tinsmith and blacksmith. But again, it sounds negative. But the whole idea is working with people to enhance their performance and productivity. So that's it. And we have some strong technology platforms. One of them is our Spike multi-capacity technology that deals with performance management, governance, compliance, and also, of course, it would have a learning management platform in it. One of the keys there is that it has a electronic competency framework 2.0. So that is easy for anyone who's interested in doing competency framework development and application. Of course, as we know, we work with teams, and we also, through the technology, help organizations to make the right hires and to handle them in the right way in the onboarding process. So that's it. I'm going to pull the tent down. Just again reminding you that you can have a conversation with me at info@successwithpeople.org, and you can actually send me a WhatsApp text at 1-876-535-6677. Thank you for your time, and let me encourage you to be like water. Adopt principles from water to enhance your personal performance and the performance of your team and organization. Collaborate like water, like hydrogen and oxygen, yes, without the infighting. And then be persistent like that meandering stream going along. And of course, be like water. Be a refreshing drink. Be something that can be bathed. Be things that you can use to make products. Be multi-dimensional. Thanks. I'm Trevor Smith. I'm with the Success with People Academy. And thank you for your time.